Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two and a Half Salesmen. I'm your host, Mario, together with my phenomenally looking co-host, Giulio. Giulio, you just came back from another country, from Romania, and it's just unbearable how good you're looking. I mean, did you lose like 10 years there? What is happening here?
You know what I'm doing? Look, I just changed my name tag. Just to make you
The
happy.
good-looking one.
All right. So at least you're happy. I'm gonna be like this from now on. I'm gonna put the good-looking one.
Oh,
So
I love it. I love it. So everyone, we have a guest today. Our guest is Michael Saruja. I do hope I didn't butcher your last name too much. So Michael, welcome.
No,
to
it's
the
perfect.
podcast.
Thank you so much, Mario.
Welcome to the podcast. How are you, man?
I'm fine. Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be in such a podcast. I'm not as good looking as Mario, but yeah, I'm trying my best, and yeah, I'm fine. Thank you so much, guys.
Cool. Okay. So tell us maybe a little bit about yourself, a little bit about what you do. What is your kind of market, since this is a sales podcast?
Yeah.
And then we will introduce today's topics and just dive headfirst into it.
Sure. Thank you so much. So, hello everybody. Basically, I'm Michael. I work in the B2B space for such a great period. And basically, after being just leading a B2B growth space inside an enterprise software as a service in Italy, I just decided to create my own consultancy. So I run a very small consultancies where basically I help B2B companies, especially B2B companies who sell complex products and services with quite high ACV to go to market, and in particular to create like very good RevOps in terms of technology, now to engage the buyers in the most efficient way possible according to the strategy, according to the market, and according to sales velocity in general. So basically, I work with a very small portfolio of companies to really create pipeline, accelerate the pipelines for the revenues.
So for today's topic, we will dive into unconventional B2B approaches to engage prospects, right? So both Giulio and I are phone first and phone heavy. Giulio is a phenomenal cold caller. I use omnichannel, but kind of phone first. So maybe let's just dive straight into it. Apart from like the standard outreach techniques, which is kind of phone, email, LinkedIn, and then obviously events, what do you see that is currently working in the B2B space?
Well, I think two things. So first of all, can be the channel, and secondly can be the approach, because okay, you can use cold email, you can use the phone, you can use LinkedIn, but the approach could be totally different. And I'm talking about especially complex deals, complex solutions, because especially when you go to market and you try to sell to an account you don't know, you kind of don't know the real problem, the exact problem inside the account, because if the solution is complex, it's kind of difficult. You have different angles, and every decision maker different angles. So before you have to make them talk, then you have to listen, and then you can follow up in a laser target way, on a sales way.
Yeah.
So basically, my approaches are really how to engage them in a non-sales way, listen to them, especially put them inside your content strategy, make them talk, create a non-sales relationship with them, listen, really listen very clear what are the problems to actually follow up in a very straight to the point and sales way.
Yeah.
Giulio,
any comments?
I actually look. I've been following Michael for quite a while, and I think that's actually what's interesting, is that you got some really good ways to get the decision. Because I mean, what you said is like, well, just get them to talk and then listen. Easier said than done, right? That's a great theory, but you need to still get them to talk to you, right? So, what would be some of the, let's say, your top 3 favorite unconventional strategies that you would use to get them engaged?
Yeah, sure. First of all, I would say podcast. which is the most easy. We are doing a podcast, but you can do a podcast just for the sake of doing a podcast, or you can do a series of interview to actually make the prospect like at the center of your content. So the pre-interview to the interview to the follow-ups, you can really engage with them and try to enter in the account. Secondly, I would say event. Event is boring, but it really depends on how you do event. Let's say round table. It's very different to say, hey, do you want a meeting with me? And saying, hey, I'm making a meeting with just 10 people on a very, very specific topic, which is a very huge problem inside the topic so that you can talk with them. And third, I would say market research, especially if you leverage communities or leverage partner. And again, must be very specific, very laser target on a problem, or at least in a topic where the buyer is really interested in.
Yeah, well, the roundtable angle is actually very interesting. One of the things that I kind of always do, like when you go to conferences, right? There's networking and there are speakers and everyone, but when roundtables come in, this is where you actually you can show thought leadership, right? You can show, oh, I know this topic, I know the problems that some of you are facing. And it is, especially if you have your competition at the table. I mean, it's very easy to just be better than them, because most of the salespeople will pitch slap. Right? Oh, we at this company, we are doing this, and this, right?
Yeah, but I think, Mario, it's even better than this, because, when I go to an event, when I go to a round table, I don't want to get sales pitched, as you basically told me. But I go to event because of the speaker, which is not mainly from the company you are selling something, the famous speaker, the thought leader, or I go to event because the topic is such laser target, I really need that information, or because I need clients. So if I organize a round table, just 10 people, I don't know, for manufacturing executive, and I really invite with me, which I'm just presenting, me, I'm the company, I want to prospect to manufacturer executive, I invite a thought leader inside the manufacturing space, and I basically share the round table between me, the thought leader, and the other manufacturer executive who turns out to be my prospect. And then, of course, it's totally different again.
So basically, you don't necessarily, so you run the round table separately, and then you would say, hey, by the way, this is something I put together. So you also would use as part of your prospecting. Do I understand that correctly?
Sure.
Okay.
You can leverage outbound to invite people. You can leverage a community, social, but outbound is totally fine. One thing, even cold calling, you like cold calling, I know you love cold calling. You can cold call people and saying, hey, you can probably have a problem. I can probably have the solution. Or you can say, hey, I saw that you just downloaded my ebook, or you saw my company page. You know that I'm creating a round table with other 10 executive, 10 agency owners about this kind of topic with the kind of speaker. Do you want to join? Yes or no? If you join, I give you a 50 € gift card or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, I am supremely against paying money for people to attend meetings.
yeah, same basically. But again, I think it really depends on ACV. How big
it depends on ACV massively. Like if your lifetime value for the customer is $500,000, and then your close rate is from prospecting to nah. I'm Italian. I say corrupt the shit out of them.
I was thinking the same, exact, but especially for the market research, I think it's totally.
How quality is then that meeting? I mean, I would rely on salesmanship and showmanship, for that matter, in order to engage them, rather than, as you Italians say, bribe.
You are right, but I think more than the ACV, what it really counts, I think, is the dimension of the market. Because let's say you are selling like a cybersecurity software for 500K, and you can just sell to 100 companies. So in the end, you really have to get that meeting. whether they have you have a good salesman, whether they have a problem right now. In some way, you have to open a conversation inside the account and really do whatever you have power to have that conversation. Try to attract the account.
But also that there's two more situations. First of all, they're not coming for the 50 euros. If you're talking to a VP, 50 euros is nothing to them first. So it's not like you're paying for the meeting. So it's not going to create problems. Second, you trigger reciprocity. So you're actually giving them a gift or something almost for free, or you could just give it for free and then trigger something back.
Oh, so, I will disagree here loudly, my friend, simply because well, let's talk giant ACVs, like so 500K and more. So if you're using $50 for a bribe to get someone to talk to you, my argument is you're devaluing the meeting itself, especially if it's a VP or a C-level
but this is not you're not paying for the meeting. You're saying, hey, if you're coming to the round table,
why resort to such tactics?
It's look, it's not a tactic. It's just something you do. Like you're just against it. But how is that worse than having to spend all the money for sales loft, the SDR to contact the person, etc., versus giving a gift card, be like, hey, this is a token of my gratitude.
Well, if it's a good SDR, he will exactly know how to run a conversation.
It's gonna cost you more than 50 euros, guaranteed.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I don't even have to think about it. Like even an SDR based in like, I don't know, where's Albania, right? So not particularly expensive country.
I did think you would say Serbia.
Yeah, I was thinking about Serbia.
But shit's cold country.
then I was like, second it came out was Croatia. I was like, no, come on, actually that's a solid economy. So I was like, Albania.
Well, solid is very
true.
Very different. But I'm just against it. It's in my opinion, it devalues the meeting or the purpose of the meeting.
But it's not for the meeting.
Reciprocity.
But it's not for the meeting. This is not for the meeting, though. Yeah, it's to come to the round table. It's two different things. I would never say, hey, if you come the meeting, I'll give you 200 euros, because that's obviously ridiculous.
Okay, then I understood it. Then it's maybe okay.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But come on, for the market research, if you think about classic market research, so real market research from McKinsey or whatever kind of research organization, they actually pay for the meeting. Like 50, like a gift card, like whatever. So I think it's kind of the same concept.
But look, let's bring another thing into play. I was talking half an hour ago to Dale, the head of the Sales Rebellion company, and they do really good with direct mail, and they send crazy stuff with direct mail. But some of the things they send, like one of the ones I love is they send an empty box of donuts, right? And you open it and it's like, I was waiting for you and I just got hungry, etc. And then they will attach a donut gift card, right? But their meeting rate is the interesting thing is that they don't ask for the meeting. They just send that and then they'll say, I'll be in touch. And then they'll call like 2-3 days later.
Yeah. Right? I think Lab does exceptional well direct mailing. So they basically support salespeople with direct mailing.
How is it called? Lab,
L-O-B. I think it's LOB.com. I kinda know. I follow Josh Roth, who is a wonderful human being on LinkedIn. If you're not following Josh is exceptional. He's, I think, their either VP sales or CRO, somewhere very high up. So just make sure to follow him. He's
what's his name? What's his name?
Josh Roth. Joshroth. Josh Roth from Love. Josh, shout out to you. I had several conversations with him, like one-on-one, and he is just the most wonderful human being there is.
Incredible.
So Lob does this. So Lob does direct mail
Interesting.
campaigns for
Interesting.
other companies. But this is a lost art. Like before email, you had phone. Like I think when Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone, the second phone call was a cold call.
Very possible.
And then if you're I'm just a little bit of sales historian, then immediately, like shortly before that, they were mailing catalogs. If you don't, so they would send you a catalog and they will say, all right, well, write us like a physical mail of items you want to order. And then you would post that in the mail. They will receive it and then they will ship you back.
But I really think that, I totally agree. I love direct mail, by the way. I'm testing a lot. I found a new partner like a month ago with direct mail, which basically is creating an amazing platform. It comes from Italy. It's strange, but even in Italy, people are innovating in this field. But it's creating a platform in which you can really personalize one to few, especially from the CRM or to new prospects sending direct mails. But to be honest, I had like amazing results too with direct mail. They really stand out in a very amazing way, and they cost like $2. It's not that much if you think about it.
Interesting.
It's not, but you gotta nail the direct copywriting, right? So it's not only the design, it is the direct copyright.
Sure. Agreed.
Yeah, this is why I think so. I think you can use direct mail like in 4 ways. One is like top of the funnel is right, but I think you have to know a bit the pains before, of course.
It's got to be very precise,
you have to be
ICP.
exactly laser targeted.
100%.
Exactly this, I think, after like a market research or after the podcast, sending direct mail because you know the pains. Secondly, like for pipeline acceleration, not really top of the funnel, but like middle of the funnel. So I already knew them. I know the pain. I know that through the funnel, I re-engage them. That lost opportunity is the same. Cross-sell, upsell, the same.
One of the things I see people use direct mail is like a handwritten thank you note whenever you do a meeting. Right, so just say thank you for the meeting.
I don't know.
That used to be a thing, like before Zoom and online meetings. People would do that. They would just write handwritten thank you notes and send them out. I used to do it like in mid 2000s, but I did it to customers. So whoever bought. I just sent thank you for the purchase, welcome to the family by hand, and I would mail that to them.
Okay, but okay. So staying this on the topic, because I've seen some other ideas on your post still that look quite good. I mean, one of the ones that I think were really crap at it, especially in smaller companies, is the community building. And I know, Michael, you got quite a good experience, even yourself personally, on this. So I don't know if you. Like, there's a lot of people trying to build a community out there. If you got any tips or results or something like that.
Yeah, community. So basically, again, I come from an outbound perspective, but you can leverage outbound to do whatever you want if you think about creating meetings, gaining partners, gaining investor, even creating a community. I have a little community called the B2B Fight Club, which is like 200 people on WhatsApp, which is 100% outbound or outbound after events. So I really don't know because I still experiment on it. I'm not an expert on community, but for sure they decrease the sales cycle. It's very easy to actually move the people there, and it's very difficult to really engage like a high-level decision makers on communities. You also can engage operators. C-level is very difficult.
Because C-levels are busy doing C-level things, I would argue. One of the things I found that I've launched a sales community like in Balkans. The one thing that I found that is the hardest is get people engaged. Get people discussion, get people talking, get people to discuss things.
Yeah.
It's just like literally full-time job. Like whoever invented community manager, that's a real thing. Like that's a real job.
But what was the topic? What's the topic of the sales community you're talking about?
Oh, it's a B2B sales. B2B sales, and I have like maybe 250 salespeople from Balkans. And it's just someone posts something here and there, and then few people answer, and like that's it. Like 10, 15 active users all around.
Yeah, what I basically understood, I think the more niche you go, and the more technical even you go, and the more people are engaged. You know what are the most engaged community to like the Salesforce one, but the Salesforce one is not about marketers and salespeople. It's about Salesforce admin, because they have a lot of questions, they confront each other. So the more technical, and the more niche you go.
Trailhead.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Also, I do think that you need to build out I think me and Mario are part of Justin Michael's community, and there's like 700 people, but probably most of the messaging is done by 20, right? And then you'll have because that's still the problem, right? When you're a community, is that if either you mute it or you're gonna get 1,000 messages, right? And very few people are that keen to have it unmuted. So that's the flip side about it. I've differently joined a Slack one. I don't know if Slack is better for it. I'm still figuring it out.
So for Justin Michaels, I know he has like 700 people in the group where me and Giulio are, but I think he has nearly 8,000 people on Slack. For Hype Cycle, but I just have too much things to do, man. Just to be active in every single community, and I think this is a case for most people. Like if I were just a member of one community, all right.
Yeah, but again, I think this is like the problem. If you see like the community that are really engaged, you have a slightly different angle. Apart from the one of Justin Michael, which is very focused on his personality, because of course he want to sell his stuff. But if you see the other B2B sales communities, like sales technician from Eric is very technical on outbound sales, or the one from I don't know, remember the name of the other, but is very technical, but in another way on micro SaaS and software in general. So they have a little angle that is kind of different.
Okay.
And this is the reason why I'm probably shifting mine, because I try to iterate content and really try to understand what really tick and what not. What I really understood is that the people inside mine, for example, are not really interested in B2B sales or marketing, but are interested in how to go outside their company and start their own consultancy like me. So that's it. That was okay, now I understand.
Makes sense. Like, I mean, as it should be. I think we should do an episode on entrepreneurship, because like we've seen more and more people are looking to go fractional, right? So
and yeah, I am seeing this trend. So what I'm seeing, and this is just purely my observation, that I have zero data on this, is that more and more, I would say, top performers are just going, as Giulio said, going fractional. So what they will do is they will get 2 clients or 3 clients, and then do fractional work. Go from there.
Yeah, it's true. I think there are 2 people who go fractional, like top performer who got really get bored, really get not only bored, but they really can't stand anymore the corporate space in general, and people who get like laid off. And so they say, okay, I go all in on this and I try to do on my own. So there are, I think, 2 distinct kind of people. Maybe they are very good at their job, but then you are not that good at being a fractional, which is totally running a consultancy is not being an executive, it's totally different.
Yeah, the first time I met someone doing that, it was maybe 3 years ago. It was super weird, because what he did is basically said, I am an SDR. I've been doing cold calling for 30 years. And
Mhm.
now I just call for clients. So clients hire me to do cold calling for them. I don't teach. I don't consult. I don't coach. I just get in and call. And I found that to be super weird, at least 3 years ago. But now, like,
Everyone is doing it. Yeah.
we
Now
are just seeing everyone doing it. I mean, I think the future of sales is junior and medium people will work for companies, but senior people, especially people who have great results, will go the fractional route for sure.
maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go back to the multi-channel, because we still have there were some other channels that I saw on your LinkedIn, Michael, but I don't remember. But is there any other, quite quirky idea that comes to your mind that you think could be interesting for companies?
I won't say again channel. So channel again are not basically the same. You can, okay, LinkedIn, it's okay. Some decision maker are active on other platform like Facebook, especially in Italy, people can active on Facebook, and there's a way to structure outbound on Facebook. Can be email, of course, can be phone, can be WhatsApp. My community is on WhatsApp. It's a very nice way to actually follow up if you know the person.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, but
again, WhatsApp or his community?
No, I'm a big fan of just doing even outbound on WhatsApp. I message people on WhatsApp when they don't know me.
I do that as well.
Yeah, fuck it.
It's weird when you get a message from a Serbian number.
yeah, WhatsApp probably. But now you have like some tool you can do this. You can even structure that instead of doing.
You can do it automatically. Exactly.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
I don't know if it is compliant, to be honest, but WhatsApp could be. SMS, I don't think is like totally top of the funnel.
But I think SMS, like technically not even email is, right?
No, email it is.
It's like this is the thing, it's a gray area, right?
It is a little bit gray.
Yeah, but I think the difference is here. If you call the email, especially in the GDPR, the email as a company domain.
Of course.
So it is the marketing executive of the company.
Of course.
If you call the SMS,
yeah, but Michael, I call people all the time, right? And the thing
that's true. That's true.
And they can tell me, where did you get my number? Truth is, it's not like I got the number from heaven. Someone came and gave me the number, right? I bought it somewhere. So, but I'm not liable, because I think if they could prove that I knew it was their personal number and I called them anyway, then they could try and sue me, and good fucking luck.
I don't think that is correct.
I'm just saying.
The GDPR doesn't say that. So
but that's what I'm saying. So if it's not for calling, it's definitely not for SMS either.
So Michael, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So I've seen a fair amount of B2B sellers, and this is high tickets, right? Generating leads via podcasts. So what they do is they will find industry podcasts. So Giulio and I had a good friend of mine, Christian, several weeks back on a podcast. What he did is he found a very influential podcast that talks to one specific industry. So typically it was oil and gas, right? Very old school industry. So the guy that runs it published several books. He's like authority in oil and gas. So Christian went on the podcast and basically talked shop. And then some of the clients that were listening specifically to the host were said, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. I want to engage with him. And this is how he generated leads. So trying to get on industry specific podcasts. So for example, for Giulio, if Giulio sells to HR, then okay, who is the foremost expert on HR? And then just get Giulio on the
True. But I think you even talked about this, finding a very niche creating a very niche podcast and then building
it should be niche.
Different, I think, is a different approach. So of course it is the one that you suggested, Mario, is a fantastic approach, because at the end people consume podcasts, is fine, but the approach is different, because like outbound, you can use outbound again for event, market research, podcast, but you can actually control the outcome, because maybe it was really, really working in your specific case, the one of your friend, but it's different if I run a software company, I sell 50K ACV, and I really try to interview people, but it's just an excuse to interview them and listen to them. So the key here is podcast guest. In the first case, like podcast audience. One is like marketing, like advertisement. The other is like engagement, direct engagement.
Okay, good distinction.
Yeah, this basically
yeah.
direct response and not direct response if you just speak in another language.
I mean, there are so many podcasts nowadays, right? So to Giulio's point, I would just to reiterate it, getting on a very like industry niche or industry specific one, I think that's that's a winner.
Yeah, but I would do the same, but for my brand, for my company, for my own go-to-market, but I won't do the same for clients, because it would be too strange, too difficult to actually structure in the way I'm structured right now to actually guarantee results and make.
I can say, actually, when I saw your post, I was like, that's funny because I have the HR Tech Lions podcast. But while it's quite good for me to get conversations going, it's not really tailored to my services, right? Because I'm just really talking to HR tech founders about how the company scales. And I realize it's not such a good way for me to get clients. It's a good way to get visibility, but not clients, because I'm not really talking about me at all. Right?
Yeah,
So,
but you're right. You are right. But I think that the thing is not the podcast episode, is like in the pre-interview, interview and follow-up. Because first of all, pre-interview, you can have an excuse, something like, hey, we have to check internet connection. Basically, this is the excuse. And in the pre-interview, you just prepare some questions, but the questions should be the same of your discovery or your demo or your sales discovery. In this way, you can actually understand the problems. So you have two times pre-interview, interview, even live. It's totally fine to do a discovery live and just asking questions, and then you can follow up in very different way, not just to him, but to all the account.
So I have a question for both of you now, right? So Michael, I'm currently so I'm not following you on LinkedIn. I do follow Giulio closely.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? This is content related, right? So what do you think about gated content, right? So is it for a while, this was a way to generate actually leads, but I'm seeing
what's gated content?
So the gated content is, let's say that you are in a specific industry, right? HR. And then you write a white paper that says 15 best practices in human resources field, right? So you write an ebook that is like 30, 40 pages long, but they need to leave their data in order to get it.
A lead magnet.
Call it, but it's to be, so this is called gated, right? Because you need to leave your email and phone number and shit like that in order to get it, right? So what is your, and I will, after you guys go, I'll tell you what my thoughts
I think
are.
that we just all the B2B marketing sales community basically hate gated content because of Chris Walker. Probably okay, because he just invented the demand generation movement. He did an amazing job. But to be honest, I think it depends, because I think gating content create a better intention, you know? If you want to qualify people, for example, let's say I want to cold email people on a very large scale, saying something like, hey, I have a very incredible use case map with 100 different use cases. Do you want it? And only the people who actually leave the email and the phone, I call them. So in this way, it's a way to say, hey, I raise my hand. I'm more interested than the other, and I lose time with the others.
Okay. I mean, look, I I had some gated content on my website. Not that I use my website a lot, to be honest. But my general point of view is that, and I would side with Michael to some extent, if it's something very good and very specific, then it makes sense. So if it's something like, like that really addresses a very specific problem, etc., then I rather call someone that downloads that than just make a simple cold call out of nowhere. Let's put it this way. For me, it's a warmer level of lead.
Well, I was for gated content, foolishly believing that the leads that come in are warm leads. But then what it actually turns out, especially with the information overload that we are living in, and now ChatGPT churning out ebooks like crazy, it did lose a little bit of value. Well, I would maybe argue what type of a gated content, because I've seen gated content that sells for $10,000s of dollars, like state of commercial real estate in United States.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, it like you get a full-on report that is 200 pages long, and you pay 10K every 6 months to read it. But if you're a seller in commercial real estate in US, you need to buy that crap.
But I think that
right? But top 10
But I think there's a difference between like gated content and lead magnet. So if you are talking about really lead magnet, so lead magnet is not just an ebook, as I see it. It's like how can I solve a portion of the problem with that kind of content? Can be a content, can be a cheat sheet, can be a little tool, so that I know after they buy the content, I can actually upsell the full service. For example, if I'm selling, again, like real estate software, okay, and probably I'm selling real estate software to some prospects, and I just find that those people, they have two level of complexity, and they have to solve two kind of problem. One of the real estate, they really need the real estate report, and if they need the real estate, they need a bigger software to actually solve other kind of problems. If the real estate report is a subset of the problem, then it's like it's a real end raiser, you're really brilliant qualified.
I would just argue that if it's contributing to you and your company being like a thought leader, and kind of being on a forefront of talking about the problems, I would just be, it's just free. If you want to, you click, you download it, you brand it, you put in your logo, you put in contact us and all of those crap, but you just give it, I would just give it away for free, like all the time. I would not even collect emails, right? Because at one point you will look at your folder, and, oh, I have 7 ebooks from ABC company. All right, I didn't read any of them anyway.
But look, the final point with this is that you mentioned earlier is that ChatGPT can produce ebooks, etc. Look, I'm sorry, I'm yet to see a post produced by ChatGPT that I'm like, wow, this is great. Like ChatGPT is very smart and it can correct things, but they won't create from scratch really good content. Right?
No, you need a very good editor in order to
a good editor of very good content to start with. So I still feel that especially with so much shit going around, if you have good content, then you'll get better things coming.
Or as we say in Germany, Scheiße.
Exactly.
Cool.
But the same, I think, is the same for the lead magnet we were talking before. So maybe ChatGPT can generate some pages, but he actually can't think what problem are in the mind of the buyers and what subset of problem I can get inside the content, so that if people buy, they have a high intent to sell something else.
Yes. Cool. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up, guys. Michael, at the end of every podcast, we do 2 things. Number 1, we kind of have like final thoughts. And then every guest gets to 30 seconds to pitch whatever shit he is selling, because we only had 1 female on this podcast. And if I'm looking at our lineup, this is not going to change in the next month, unfortunately. So final thoughts on maybe unconventional methods of generating leads in B2B?
Yeah, basically, if I can start just so the game is getting tougher. B2B growth in general is getting tougher, especially if you want to stand out with a higher level customer. You have to really think hard to stand out from the crowd and really leverage alternative method to try to stand out and generate attention and use that attention to really gain a level deeper to create a better message, a better way to prospect.
Giulio?
I mean, look, for me, I always like this is the road less traveled, right? And it's simply like if direct mail or whatever is the message, if you can get the meetings, you can get the business, then that's what you should be doing, pure and simple.
Yeah. I'll again quote Giulio's favorite author, Justin Michael. Well, he says, if you schedule a meeting, you're right. So my kind of final thought is whatever works, test it beforehand before you kind of go all in on it. Test it, and if it sticks, you go with it, right? Michael, 30 seconds. Do a little bit of promo. Go.
Thank you. Sure. So basically, again, B2B growth is getting harder. Agency model, I think, is broken in general. Both the B2B internal teams is broken. Both the agency model is broken. What I really bring to the market is really how to create internal teams, which you can actually just develop inside and really create alternative methods to generate predictable revenues, both from technology and most for creativity, so that you can approach the market in the right way to generate revenue and stand out from your competitors.
All righty. Thank you, Michael, for joining us.
And follow him on LinkedIn. He's got plenty of good stuff on there.
Yeah, we will put in his LinkedIn in the description of the video.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for joining us. Giulio, always a pleasure. Next time I will just change my name to the loud one.
Fine. I mean, I'll have to challenge you on that, but okay.
Cool. Thank you everyone for sticking with us. Thank you everyone for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.